Take a deep breath together. And relax. And settle in. Enjoy the sound of the music, the crackle of the fire. Let your breathing settle into a rhythm. A few seconds in, and a longer exhale, then inhale. Now, as you're getting settled and peaceful, I want you to call to mind your word for 2026. What is the word you have chosen? What is this journey you are on with embodying that energy? And as you think of that word, start to think of what it is you're probably going to have to start letting go of. We're talking about release and renunciation today in this month. So what is your word? And what must you let go of? Let's just sit with that for a bit. Let your soul speak to you. Now I invite you to say in your heart of hearts, I am, and the word that you have chosen. And just repeat it over and over with conviction and strength and courage and openness. And as you repeat it to yourself, we are knowing that we have always been that. And now it is calling for expression, expansion, and unleashing into the world, into your life in a new way, in an expanded way. It is not foreign to you. It is not foreign to you. And on this journey, you will discover more of yourself. through that expression. So now with that feeling of conviction, we now sing our centering song. Sing from the book Divine Audacity by Linda Martella Whitsett, who's a Unity minister. Our power that we're working on this month as we go through our journey with our words is renunciation and release. So this is from her chapter on renunciation. Where's Glenna? It was my readers I was going into the other room to look for, which I notice now that I get up to read. Okay. No, I'm actually okay, I think. Oh, what are they, 1.5? Yes. Oh, yes. I know, God is good all the time. God is in the readers. Oh, wow. Wow, there are words on the page. Hey, Daryl. Renunciation. John the Baptizer renounced the comforts of conventional living. He released identification with his finite self, aka the ego, or only human consciousness, in favor of his infinite self, or divine identity. John's attempts at erasing only human consciousness were severe, stemming from condemnation of his human nature. Charles Fillmore, one of Unity's co-founders, reflected that John's severity and self-denial led to his condemning Herod, for which he lost his head. Oops. The ascetic takes the root of denial so energetically that he starves his powers instead of transforming them. The 12 powers of man, that's from page 152. Beware, therefore, that our renunciation is of our sense of limitation rather than our humanity. Releasing only human consciousness is releasing our sense of limitation. When we release our belief that, quote, I am only human, unquote, we uncover our divine identity that has been intact all along. We do not have to acquire our divine identity. We only need release a limited sense of self, our finite self, to reveal the infinite self. A familiar symbol in most Christian communities is the cross or crucifix, representing Jesus' death by crucifixion, understood conventionally as Jesus' act of salvation for all humanity. But there is another way to understand the cross, one that is not tied to any denominational dogma. The cross is a fitting symbol for our release ability. By his crucifixion and death, Jesus demonstrated release of any sense of himself as limited. He overcame the limitation of death. He released all ties to only human awareness, so that his infinite self arose supreme. In the activity of spiritual release, we cross out our consciousness, our only human sense of self, so that the true self, with a capital S, our divine identity, rises into prominence in all we think, say, and do. Fillmore taught, quote, every time we give up error, there is a crucifixion. And that's from Keep a True Lent. True, for all our spiritual abilities, the renouncing aspect of release operates on the physical, mental, and spiritual levels of consciousness. Recently, Alan Chambers, the former president of Exodus International, the largest Christian organization in the world, stunningly closed operations on a 40-year effort to hear homosexuality as if it were a disease. He reached conclusions over time that countered his premise that you could pray the gay away, promising to make amends to thousands who had been harmed by Exodus's methods. Mental application of renunciation is far more challenging than closing the doors of a business. Fillmore taught, the beliefs that you and your ancestors have held in mind have become thought currents so strong that their course in you can be changed only by your resolute decision to entertain them no longer. They will not be turned out unless the ego, through whose domain they run, decides positively to adopt means of casting them out of his consciousness, and at the same time erects gates that will prevent their inflow from external sources. This is done by denial and affirmation. The denial always comes first. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And now our congregational song.
Okay, the inspirational moment today is dated February the 1st, Foundations of Unity, Lesson 3, Out of the Rut. The title is Release. God, good in you, with you, for you, in, with, for everybody, everything. Everything you think, do, see, or feel is simply a part of God, of good. Why should you feel hopeless or unhappy? God isn't hopeless or unhappy, is she? Why should you or anybody else be sick? Almighty Spirit is not sick. Why should you be angry, impatient, short-tempered? For this is a state where your feelings are concerned, and you can't be any of these ugly, undesirable things if you are engrossed with the glorious sensation of being a part of God. Why should you be suspicious, hesitant, doubtful, shrinking? Why you can't be if you are intimately interwoven with the very nature of eminent, omnipotent good, if your moods and feelings are of the very same substance that constitutes God. Why should you feel anxious, uneasy, or inadequate, or fear that you might fail? Does God fear for the success of his infinite creativity? Does God shrink, tremble, grow paralyzed, or faint, like a fainting goat? No. Fearlessly let go of them, all the little bothers, the irritations, the jealousies, the dislikes. Do not give them any room in your mind. Let go of your disappointments, your sense of inadequacy, of discouragement, of failure. It does you no good to harbor such feelings. You only weaken yourself. You will be astonished at what an invigorating effort it will have on you to let them go. The actual griefs, the bitter sorrows, the tragedies, the irreparable sense of human loss, these go too. It does you no good to cling to these and brood over them. It does nobody any good. Let them go, and let God help you build something happy and worthwhile in your life. And our affirmation: I let go of all things that are out of alignment with God, the good. I let go of all things that are out of alignment with God, the good. I let go of all things that are out of alignment with God, the good.
And obviously bravery is on there too. Is another word for the courage, collaboration, courageous collaboration.
That's why I texted you. I'm like, now I have to do it.
So yes, if you have an idea to do something, just text me, call me right away. Don't think about it, or else you'll go away. Yes. So my mother loved to tell us stories about how we were, things we got into when we were little kids. So one of her favorite stories about me, and she told it often, good Lord, I could almost go with her and say the words with her as she recited the story. So apparently, when I was getting ready to go to kindergarten, I didn't know how to tie my shoes yet. And I decided I was probably just 5 years old, just turned 5 because my birthday's in September. And I decided I cannot go to kindergarten without knowing how to tie my shoes. So she said, okay, all right. Apparently I was already emphatic about that. And she said, okay, let me help you. And I said, no, I can I teach myself how to tie my own shoes. So apparently she got the message that this was a mission I was taking on by myself, for myself, and she let me go. So I went into the bedroom and shut the door, and for several hours, there were sounds coming out of the room, and there were exclamations, and there's probably a little screaming and sighing and things like that as I stayed in, and I tried over and over and over again to tie my shoes, and hours later I did come out victorious. I had taught myself how to tie my shoes, and I went proudly to kindergarten the next day, having tied my own shoes, which was so important to me at 5 years old. So there are other stories, all of which have to do with the word that I've selected for this year, which is audaciousness, audacity, being bold in what I do. So apparently I had that at 5 years old. I probably came out of the womb audaciously. And apparently I did that at 5:15 in the morning. I'm still waking up at around 5:15 in the morning, ready for life and quite audacious and ready for the day. And as I've gotten older, a lot of that has gone away. I've let it just seep away somehow. I've made compromises and lost my true essence. My true essence. One of the things I loved about Unity when I first got into it 20-some years ago now, probably almost, okay, never mind. Enough years, at least 20 years ago, was that it gave me a new identity. It let me know who I truly was, because what I had before I got into Unity was that I was a sinner, that I was born in original sin. And so all of my work is to fight that and to not be a sinner. And everything was about don't do wrong, don't do wrong, don't do wrong, don't do wrong. And when you do wrong, then you go to confession. And then you do penance. And everything was about that, everything. And I hung on to that. At least that was the message I got growing up in the faith in which I was raised. So when I got into New Thought, all of that switched, and I kept listening to that and hearing that message that we are innately divine, and that this being made in the image and likeness of God is important. And so I was kind of like a puppy who hears a strange noise and goes, What you talking about, Willis? And so, it was new for me. And I've said before that it felt right, but I wasn't used to this. I was used to the other way of thinking about myself, and shedding that, letting go of that, renouncing that, releasing that, took time. In fact, I'm still releasing some of that now 20 years later, because it's a journey. It's a journey. I don't want you to worry about having to release things and that you're not releasing them fast enough. It doesn't happen like that. I mean, it can, because we have that ability, we have that divine ability to just let something go and decide I'm not doing that. And I have done that with some things in my life. There are some things that I've looked at and said, I'm done with that. And it's gone, and I don't think about it again, and I walk away into some other kind of expression. This thing about identity has been a longer journey for me, a much longer journey, and I find different levels of it at different times of my life. So 25 years ago, this whole thing was, what really is that, and what does that mean, that I am innately divine? What does that mean? Because I'm now thinking about the divine in terms of myself, not in terms of something out there who is greater than me, who has all the power, holds the strings, the puppet strings, and I'm the puppet doing this. So I had to shift my perspective from something out there to this in here, to me. Lowly old pitiful me that I felt like then, and sometimes still do, but get over it so much more quickly. So that was a long, long journey of letting go and renouncing and saying to myself, I am not just that. I am not a sinner. I didn't come from original sin. I am made in the image and likeness of God. So just like in that reading from Divine Audacity, Charles Fillmore says, you renounce first, and then you go into your affirmation. You deny first, and you affirm. And so, no, I am not created in sin. I am divine. And I said that, and I thought about it, and I meditated on it, cried sometimes about it, because some things would come up, and I would think, well, there's nothing divine about this. This is not all goodness, like I perceive God to be, that God is the all good. I wasn't looking at myself and seeing the all good. Lord knows I didn't feel like the all good. And so a gradual shedding of that, continuing to do denial and affirmation helped. And sometimes it was just denial for a long time. I am not that, I am not that, I am not that. I am not worthless. I am worthy. I am not pathetic. I am not less than. What are some of all of you know, the things you've said about yourself and thought about yourself, that I am this, and then you're having to go through life now and say, I'm not that. I'm not useless. I am not unlovable. I am not unhealthy. I am not poor. What are the words you say to yourself that are out of alignment with God and the good, like that affirmation? That affirmation is something real. That affirmation, I picked that exclusively, implicitly, importantly, so that you could start using that and saying that to yourself so that you get this stuff, that belief in your bones, so that you know, truly, truly, truly know that about yourself. Not just as something that's up here on the board that you say on Sunday and you go home and you're kicking yourself. Again, we got to let that stuff go, people. We got to let that stuff go. And I don't care who said it to you. I don't care who gave you the idea, even if it was yourself. I don't care if it was a parent, a grandparent, a teacher, a friend, a lover. Somebody says they love you and cuts you, sticks the knife in your back and turns it. I do not deserve to be betrayed. I deserve good friendships. I deserve good relationships, loving relationships, whatever those things are that you've been telling yourself, and just hold as truth because you've held them for so long. Start letting that stuff go. So when you feel yourself having those things, when you feel those beliefs creeping up in your everyday expression, because sometimes it's not always the thought, you start doing something, and I do this, I go there sometimes, and then all of a sudden I'm thinking, oh, that was pathetic. Why the heck did I say that? Why did I act like that? Somebody just gave me a compliment, and then I start explaining, well, it's not all that. Really? Say thank you. Just say thank you. It took me a long time to just say thank you when somebody gave me a compliment. Just say thank you, Kim. Just say thank you. Even if you don't believe it, say thank you and receive it. Because they're giving you what they see in you. Most of the time, it's my inner critic that's talking to me. I haven't had naysayers in my life in a long, long time. I've kicked all those people out of my life. That was a releasing. That was a renouncing. Letting those relationships go that are toxic because you think that's all you get. So I don't have any more of those people. The only naysaying I get is the stuff I give to myself. And that's the stuff I'm working on. So last night I went to a potluck that was given by my Tai Chi teacher and his wife. And so we're all together, and I got there, and I had worked all day long, right up to the time where I got changed to go to the potluck. So I'd been at my desk from about 8 a.m. to 4:15. And I took a break to get something to eat, and then I took a break to throw together a salad to take, and then I got in there, and I didn't feel like talking to anybody. So I go in, and I know this is rationally, I know there's going to be people there, but I walk through the door, and there's about 15, 16 people there, and I go, oh, people. Oh, okay. I'm not ready. I'm really not ready. And so I see the people that I'm in class with, and I figure I could just go over there and just be safe. And I could just talk to them or not talk, and I can just listen to them chatter. And something in my word, audacious, came to me. And I went, oh, man, here it comes. Okay, I chose that. It chose me. And so in a second, I said, okay, yes, we have people. People I don't know. And I went over and I sat with a group of people I didn't know. And I talked to them. And I didn't just let them talk and sit and listen. I engaged with them. And I actually met somebody who was really interesting. We had some great conversation. She's probably going to end up coming to sound baths and 9D breath work. We had a great conversation. But when I walked in the door, I wasn't feeling audacious. I wasn't feeling me. All I wanted to do was retreat and sit with my salad there and look at people and just kind of fade into the background. Fade into the background. But something within me reminded me, first of all, of my word. And I went, oh, crap, I did choose that. Whew, okay, just like Carol said, woman of my word, I'm going to be audacious tonight. And I did and had a great time. But I had to shed in the moment what it is I didn't want to be and didn't want to do and didn't want to express. And I had to move towards my new identity or my expanded identity, because the audaciousness obviously was already there prior to being 5 years old. So I must have come out of the womb audaciously, because that's always been with me. And there are times when I want to be anything but that. But part of stepping into an identity means you have to be willing to step away from what it is you no longer want to express. And for me, that is playing small. And for me, that's when I want to retreat and not be the person I need to be. I didn't want to go, because there are some days I love being spiritual leader, and there are days when I don't want. I just want to be Kim. I don't want to be spiritual leader. I don't want to teach. I don't want to talk about principle. I just want to go and yuck it up and have a good time and throw caution to the wind and just let it go. I don't want to be the one in charge. And yet there was something calling me last night in a few moments to be that. To be that. And I almost stumbled over the word. She's like, oh, what do you do? I'm a spiritual leader at a center in Saxe. And this is what we do. And she asked me some questions about that. And I didn't want to talk about that, but she was asking me, and she was open. And so I was that in that moment for her, not for me. And it ultimately was for me, because then I got to step again into this that I love to be. And it doesn't just happen here. It happens out in the world at times when I don't expect it. So with this word that you have chosen for the year, there are some things you're going to have to let go of, and there are times you're going to have to let it go in the moment. And you get to choose, am I going to step fully into what I'm called to, or am I going to retreat? Don't kick yourself if you decide to retreat. Just take a breath and be aware of what you felt, what you're feeling, where is it coming from, and how do I change this next time? So I need to be aware of the times when I'm tired and I just want to retreat. So yes, I realize that I'm in feels like high season. Well, Christmas was high season because there was a lot going on. But business-wise, January is high season because I got year-end stuff to do. So you should have all gotten your giving statements. If you've given more than $5 in 2025, you got a giving statement in your email last Sunday. So there was that to do, there was 1099s to do, and I had some assistance with it. But still, I have to go to the platform and get it all in there, make sure it's correct, and then send it out to everybody who needed a 1099 and get that all done. And do all the other paperwork and make sure things are in the right files, that they're in the right digital files, that they're right in the hard copy files, and all that has to be done. I had to finish up all of the financials. I had to make sure that the budget was all done because we're going to have our meeting at the end of this on the 15th of this month. And we're going to talk about 2025 and 2026. All that had to be done. So I have to realize when I'm starting to feel tired, then I want to retreat because some days I say, all right, I'm done. I'm invisible. I'm not here anymore. Don't give me any more. I can't do any more, and yet more comes. And so being audacious means I have to pull something up from inside of me that I don't feel is present at the moment. And that's what your journey is going to be like. Whatever word you've decided on. Obviously, Carol went through a journey this week after she chose her song. She's like, why did I choose that song? Like, this is heavy weight. What am I doing? So she went back and forth, and she got up here, and then she did that. That's hard to do, even though she's used to directing choirs and directing groups, and she's used to teaching and doing music. And she also teaches, and she has a life, and she has all kinds of stuff going on. So it's never easy, but it's worth it. And look what happened here. We had an experience together. She collaborated. We all collaborated together to sing a song all but 2 people in the room knew before we came here. She got us to sing something we didn't know we were going to sing. And did a great job. I heard the harmony. Oh my gosh. I know. Yeah. Yes. So we've got to release some things. So I really want you to think about what is it I need to let go of. February is our month for release and renunciation. What is it that you need to start saying, I am not that anymore. I am not that anymore. I am not that anymore. And I want you to say it to yourself. Sometimes you got to say it in your heart of hearts. Sometimes you need to say it out loud. And say it like you mean it. Say it with conviction. Say it with the Superman pose. I am not that anymore. I do not play small. I am audacious and bold. And look at yourself in the mirror and say it to yourself and mean it. Say it to yourself. Because the you that's in there, the you with a lowercase s, needs to hear from the you with the uppercase S, self. They need to talk. And the lowercase self needs to hear from the uppercase self that this is what we're doing and I am in charge now. And it's all good. It's all good. That all this stuff you thought you were not, you truly are those good things. You truly are divine. You truly are goodness and light. Stop saying that about us. Move towards the light you're being called to, especially when you don't feel like it. Because something happens in the brain, something happens in your heart, something happens in your body when you go forward to something you don't like doing, and you do it anyway, and you transform your energy. And then you start creating new neural pathways in the brain. Physically, something happens to you. Your brain changes, and you becomes something else, something new. Something that was always there that you've been denying. So whatever it is, this word that you've chosen, that energy has always resided within you. Always. Always. It's not new. It came up and it made itself known because it's been waiting for you to get to this moment, to get to this year, and to realize that now's the time. Now's the time. Now's the time. In a group that I am with Monday through Friday at 8 a.m., we've started saying to each other, "For this you were born." Say to yourself, "For this I was born." I was born for boldness and audacity. That's what I say to myself now when I get up in the morning. I say it throughout the day. I said it last night when I walked into that potluck and didn't feel like it. For this I was born. I've always been audacious. Why am I playing small? Why do I want to shrink in the corner? What is that about? I am not a corner girl. So I invite you to take some time to reflect and ask. Trust Spirit. Spirit's brought you right here to this moment. Ask Spirit, what is it I need to let go of? What do I need to release? And take that seriously. So that you can start declaring, start in your denials, I am not that I am releasing. And then affirm, I am, and what is your word? Go from your denial to your affirmation. Do it as often as you need to do it. You gotta do it 10 times in a day, do it 10 times in a day. Some days I am sailing high and I am kicking butt and taking names, and I don't need to say it that often because I'm feeling it. Feeling it. Other days I have to repeat it because I'm not feeling it. And I'm not believing it. And I have forgotten. Or something has happened that kind of teetered my confidence, my conviction, and I'm starting to believe the old patterns. And I'm thinking about the old behavior again, and I'm thinking, I don't know what was, why did I even think I could do this? And that stuff is starting to creep in a little bit, and you got to sweep it out. You got to sweep it out. That's why they call it new thought, because you can have a new thought and change your experience of life. It's not because we invented something new that nobody had done before. Unity is full of old, ancient beliefs from many different places. We didn't discover anything new. New thought is about having a new thought and expressing something new so you can have a different experience of life. So you've all decided that 2026 is going to be different in a particular way because you've decided on a particular energy you're stepping into. That you are releasing, that you are harnessing, that is buried somewhere deep within you, and you're going to let it out. You're going to let it out. You're going to harness what's already there. Your divine self is calling you out to be who you are. Just be your light. Very simple. Be the light you've always been, that you were created to be. You showed up in existence, in pure potentiality, and then in physical existence as goodness and light. Believe that about yourself. That's what community is for. And when you see your spiritual family, someone in your spiritual family not shining their light, love them and say, just shine your light. I know that about you. Come on with the light. Don't do that. Don't shrink. Shine your light. We can do that for each other in love, as love, as we do it for ourselves. Let's take this in meditation. Let's go back to our words. And repeat in your heart of hearts, I am. What is your word? Insert your word, I am. Say it over and over again. And when your personal naysayer throws out something else into your head to remind you that you can't be that, I want you to say, I am not that. I am not blank. Denial before affirmation. Picture yourself in the Superman pose. I am. I am. And if you don't have a word yet, you can use I am goodness and light, I am love, I am divine. Choose something that feels right in this moment. Say it with conviction and strength. Picture yourself with a smile on your face, joy in your heart, celebrating that you are that energy already in this moment, right here, right now. That you were that when you were born. Your divine light is simply calling you to shine more brilliantly, to know yourself, truly know yourself. So let's take a deep breath together. Breathe in. Exhale. Breathe in the energy of that word you've chosen. Breathe it in. And exhale what it is that you are releasing. Exhale that energy you're releasing that no longer serves you this year. Breathe it out. Breathe it out. So we say yes and thank you for choice, for new thought, for a new thought, for the new thought we have decided on, declared for this year. We give thanks for that and for the journey ahead, for new expression, for new adventures, for new discoveries about ourselves and about the divine and how it works in our lives. We give thanks for community that sees our light, inspires our light, that loves us right where we are, and sees our divine self as well. We give thanks for a love that is active in our lives and as us, that occupies every single cell of our bodies, that renews our minds, that strengthens our souls and our spirits. We say thank you, and we celebrate life in this moment. And so it is, and so it shall be. Amen.